wasn't the 10th. This kind of is. Ultra doing his thing. Kai, Ardan, Robbie, Solo. I actually don't really know J-Pack. I do apologize. But, I don't really know them. Searches. Forge. Get people in StarCraft 2. Those have been Reserve League. I actually forget her name. It's always just been Patrol. Oh my goodness. Sheila. Yeah, I don't hear her name. I just think of Patel. And so, if it's not Patel, or Patel, or Patel. But I haven't heard Sheila her name in a long time. And even she plays a lot of FPS games. She's funny people. She's charismatic. She's good people, and highly skilled as an FPS player. Like, she's on a pro team with the men. She can keep up with them. If you wanted, she wouldn't lag behind. I bet if you put Sheila on a pro men's team, she'd be number 1 on the team. You could take Sheila and put her on any CS pro team, any Valorant pro team, and I bet she'd be 1 or 2, rank 1 or 2 on the team, real quick, like 30 days. I would hate the day to run into her one-on-one in an FPS game because I don't want to die. That's how good she is. You know what I mean? Like, wait, hold on. She's good. Actually, if you needed a coach for a team too, she would. Oh no, they swung too. So that's tough. That's where it hurts to be. In any situation, I wouldn't want to be. Imagine if I was in a gunfight, right? You turn a corner, it's 1v2, bro. That's tough spot. That's tough. Only way to counter that is if there's more cover. That's about it. But any kind of gunfight, right? It's 1v2. Then in real life, dude, it's game over. Feel understand. It's 2v1. But see, after these kind of gunfighting out in the open, it's too much. So any kind of tactics, like these other teammates, whatever, any kind of tactics that are used in, well, U.S. Air Force vet, any kind of actual tactics still work, of course, in FPS sense. So in those instances where it is a 1v2, but the opponent was like fighting out in the open, we usually never fight out in the open. You always fight in cover. So I imagine the same tactics would apply here. Basically, like, you have to make yourself small. So by making yourself small or get skinny, basically, you're just making it harder for your opponent or someone else to see you. And so it's good and bad. Basically, you're gonna maximize your distance, and kind of pie every single corner. Much more methodical and not kind of running and jumping. Whoa, that is super risky. I don't think I would ever do that. So here's a funny thing. In a gunfight, you have to tactically reposition a lot. Because once an angle and a position is already fought, you don't commit more resources to it. Right? Like if we turn a corner near mountains or hills, or you're in a building, sorry. Actually, because of Air Force tactics. Yeah, probably not. But, let me hop on a Valorant. Actually, Sheila playing CS is inspired me to hop onto Valorant. Even though I need to practice more and more Valorant. Okay. Next is playing Brand. He's having a tough game. Or, you know, kind of a... Natsumii's playing League. Hey. Let's,
Voidies, which is good. She got a kill, that's okay. I just gotta go back down.
Oh.
You're still undecided? Oh, about seeing IU? Where would you go to see her if you were gonna see her? I think she is going to like quite a few states though. She's gonna be, I feel like she's gonna be in the Kia Forum, just like normally. I remember. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm level 4. Help. Wait, why is he level 6? We missed that many waves?
Wait, why is ADC Vayne level 4? And how is the Ezreal 6? That was weird. They got beat by a whole level? Ooh, I gotta abandon the ADC. You gotta walk away from the ADC. So there's times where you're playing League of Legends and you can only help your teammates so much. That's the role of the support. You know, you're gonna support the whole team. And there are times where, yeah, you should never be one whole level down as an ADC. That's not possible because both the ADC roles are even. All you have to do is stay in XP range. The opponent can only ever be in XP range or go for. That's about it. Because essentially in League of Legends you can always be at 1,000 unit range. So just think 300 unit range is like melee. I think 600 is like range. I think 900, which is basically like 1,000, as like spell range. So if you're at 300 unit range, you're melee range. You know, if you're at 600 unit range, you're at kind of normal attack range. Most units are around 550 or 650, so it evens out to 600. And then your spell range is usually around 900 units or 1,000, so you can stay at 1,000 range. So in League of Legends, it's more so the game is actually read-react defense. So League made sure that all of their high school champions are read-react capable. That's why pros are so afraid of burst champions like fighters and assassins in the mid lane or laners in general, because actually what they're lacking is the ability to duel. Or their ability to kind of fight 1v1. That's what the players are lacking. So if you're confident in your 1v1, you want a fighter or an assassin to fight out level 1 strats, level 2 strats, level 3 strats, and you end the game in 2 minutes. But the problem is League is inherently designed to be read-react, kind of mage focus actually. Everything's around mages. Quite literally. It's like, how well do fighters and assassins affect mages? That affects the whole balance of the game. How well do mages do zone damage, AoE damage to everybody? Is that too strong or too weak? They try to change or adjust behind the scenes. And then so the game is already centered to be mages, because at no one point of the past 14 years of League of Legends have they ever allowed mages to be weak. But what's so funny is Riot Games will purposely go for a whole year or 2 years weakening other roles, but they'll never do it to mages. And it's really weird. And this is what League of Legends should do. I'll explain it super simply if the game does understand. You need to make all mages the hardest class to play. Does that make more sense? And you need to reduce mages damage by like 15% across the board. So in 2024, what you see in the past, so check this out. So Riot Games will allow the ADC role to stay weak. Oh man, listen to Natsumiii a little bit. Riot Games will allow the ADC role to be weak for 12 months. They won't change it in 14 days. They won't change it in 30 days. They'll allow a whole role for millions of players to they'll purposely make that role weak. And they did it for a whole year. They did it for 2 years for tanks. There's a period where they're like, all right, let's make fighters successful. They didn't actually balance anything. They just crippled tanks and juggernauts for 2 years. And in that period, all of a sudden, we saw more fighters kind of in the mid lane and top lane. But it wasn't actually balancing. They were just taking a whole role and affecting millions of players that love those roles. Like, there are millions of players that just play ADC. But Riot Games at no one point in 14 years will ever allow mages to be weak. But I think in 2024, you just want to balance League of Legends, the one class that they won't affect. Super easy for the game devs to understand what I'm talking about right now. And you clip this and send it to them. They never weaken the mage role. And you need to realize that you need to take the mage role in League of Legends, make it the hardest skill role to play, and reduce the damage by 50% across the board. And then you balance League of Legends, like quite literally. So for 14 years, and I've only been playing League for like 5 years. But when you look at all the information for 14 years, it's everybody is saying the same thing. They're like Riot Games or League of Legends will never be balanced. But when you look at it, there's only one role that pops out. If anyone ever just looked at the data, I was like, look at all the other champions that are being affected, and then just kind of the mage role as itself. And it's just like, so yeah, just instant balance. Basically, I'll explain like this. There's burst, poke, and then like sustain. It's only 3 groups, 3 archetypes.
Oh my god.
But at the top of the archetype is the poke, is the mage.
Jesus.
And he's always strong.
Crazy.
So assassins can beat,
or
fighters can beat assassins. Assassins can beat marksmen. Marksmen were supposed to basically kind of fight mages, like technically. But I think we might have regressed somehow when they weakened the ADC role for a year, and then that like lost a lot of talent, I think, in the role around the world. And then people didn't understand and forgot that since ADs or ADCs auto attack, they're going to weave in more damage inherently because they have to do less. You just have to attack, move, stop command, animation cancel, or you can even adjust your left click to be attack and your right click to move, and then you're just kind of threading. You stop using your left hand, so you can in League of Legends you can take usually the right mouse button is to move command. You can readjust your left to be an attack, and so you just your index to attack and your right to move, and you can also move cancel within that or stop animation. So you got to attack, stop, right click, stop, right click. So you're still kind of, so you're just kind of threading. That's the way I describe it.
Thank you for
So,
the Lamborghini. Thanks for the Lambo and the house and.
huh?
Dude, I didn't even sleep little. Like I slept 6.5 hours. It's a pretty decent amount.
It's not enough sleep, but in my humble opinion, I'm just.
I don't know if he would be there.
Someone said, "Bro, go to sleep." For me, I'm eating my dinner and then I'm passing it around. But yeah, in terms of what Riot Games, super easy to fix. Super that easy to fix. How you balance the mage role is you only have to affect mana. Because inherently, for most other champions, their abilities what define their kit and the signature and style of the champion. The silhouette also helps too, but how champions, their whole kits are premised around their capabilities and their abilities. So for mages, since the vast majority of them are going to be mana based, you just adjust mana or change mana in the game, and that will inherently systematically cripple all the mages in the game. Mm-hmm.
They're not actually doing it.
What I would do? I would reduce the rate.
They're definitely.
I would reduce the rate at which mana comes back. People are like, what? I would say cut that by 50%. Of the current rate at which mana regenerates, I would cut that back by 50%. They could do that for 2025 season if they want. Riot Games.
Can we get rid of this real quick? Now.
What is Natsumi thinking? I think she should change.
Go home. I'm scared. I'm a little scared.
Oh, Bane's doing really good.
What kind of booster I want? I feel like this should be enough.
Also,
I don't have that much.
for anyone watching Natsumi, she is an incredible top laner and mid laner
But I think
and support.
Australia's really good.
I've seen her hard carry
I think I go with
as a
Australia.
top laner before, where it looked like she was just like smurfing on everybody around her. I was like, whoa. And then when she played mid lane, I seen her dominate on mid lane. She's definitely like a diamond top laner and a diamond mid laner.
We go with
And
Terrell.
I'm guessing her highest rank must be support. That's why she plays support. But she is an incredible top laner and mid laner too. If you ever decide to stick around and watch and support Natsumi. But yeah. Oh, and she makes music too and sings. What, can she get away? Oh, she's changed the blast cone.
Help.
Can teammates help? Bro, can the freaking jungler rotate? Like, what? Is
Help.
Yone like,
Why
does
he
he have,
getting an
is Yone sleeping in the mid lane? Like, bro, like, I don't understand. They can apply some sort of pressure. Like, Yone, if he had his spells, thank you, bro. Like, bro, dude. If Yone would have not just, like, Yone just, like, showed up to the party late and then used all his abilities. And if Yone would have just had some patience, he could do the burst damage and then close out some fights. Oh, okay. Riven gets the double kill. Riven's in the fight. Oh, Briar got the kill. No, Briar totally kill stole that from Riven because Riven was already fighting. And then she caught it. She waited. She hesitated. Like, what? That's just Riven did all the work, and then Briar shows up and just like, I'm gonna dash really quick and steal this kill. I'm like, damn.
You know, maybe I might need a McHale's before I build the frickin' whatchamacallit frickety. That is really deep. Really focus on the tower.
What? What? Hold up. But why is Briar taking tower shots? Like, what? I don't understand. It's Hailo, right? I guess the way no, because it's still just, it's all good. It's all good. I want to say to the jungle that it's inefficient because the quicker they can get their gold back onto the map, it's much better than staying on the map. And oh my goodness, Briar. I think can it tank? Oh yeah, I was gonna say I believe Briar. I thought Briar was supposed to be an assassin, so I'm like, unless Briar is a fighter.
Monka.
Oh, Vayne, shut up.
Died a terrible death. Where was our Yone? Our Yone went off.
Bro, what is Yone? Dude, Yone's sleeping in the lane, dude. The Yone's sleeping in the lane. I thought something was weird earlier when Natsumi should have not died. Not her not dying, but the Yone should have been over there to help. And then he's just like freaking out.
One dub. That it is definitely not dubs everywhere. Definitely not dubs everywhere, but
Oh, interesting teammates.
But we're trying.
Oh, matches are popping on 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. But I promised somebody that I was going to play Valorant. And so I need to keep that promise. I had to practice some Valorant. That last song also sounded interesting. Shoulders. That's not good. Oh.
Dum Dum. We can listen to Dum Dum. Oh my god, Joe! Thank you for 61 months. Welcome back. Sorry, I didn't notice. Must have been just mid-game playing.
Hold up.
Oh, I want to do a morning stream, but I've been like, yep, yep, English. That was all English, I promise.
Wait, is it that it's so cold the electronics can't turn on? Holy shit. Damn.
Fasting sunup.
Oh, there we go.
So, do you want me to
Just not turning on.
that?
Barely. Dude, it's so cold my laptop couldn't turn on. That's how cold it was. Like, quite literally. It's the battery. People understand there's a battery charge pack and then the main voltage cord. The battery charge pack that's on the ground that's separate is so cold that it couldn't get power to the computer CPU. Dan, that actually means in order to that's super easy. You can design around that for space. You just build plastic capsules. But that'll also be kind of weird too. No, it just need to be sealed. So you'd want like inverted and non-inverted layers of convex plastic that has air pockets. I think like foam. So the more foam you can generate for a spaceship hull, the more insulated you can resist against negative ions because you create a density field with each pocket of air. So it's not bad. Or you should be able to isolate small round magnets inside of a foam core container, and then it should generate a larger field, one that can be controlled. So if you have a containment unit that has 10 million magnetic balls, and people are like, how would you do that? Well, instead of a magnet, it's always going to be polarized. So always going to have a positive force and negative force. Well, what you're actually saying is positive ions and negative ions that are collapsing upon themselves, and they're just pulling that ferrous material. So the material itself can be used to bounce off of the fields of those two plates as they shift. Because at one point, it's the frequency that they both resonate is what's binding those two forces. So with these negative ions that are collapsing and drawing everything down to the core, that force itself can be measured. And we can resonate off it or bounce off it. So we created basically, I'll show everybody. Welcome to Ionic engines, or Ionic thrust. So at the turn of the century, or like 19th century, you had the Wright brothers conduct the first flight. They were like, if you can move fast enough and have enough curvature with the aircraft, you're just basically slicing through the air, and you're using the opposite and reactive force of two normal forces pressed upon themselves, and that curve is a slice through air. The resistance of air creates drag, and your drag lifts the aircraft into the sky. As long as you're going fast enough, you're essentially, man, how can I describe it? It's going to sound really weird. It's like a whole bunch of bombs are going off that are so small that it's lifting up as you're slicing through the air. That's drag. But the force at which the friction is occurring is like really, really small explosions going off as you're slicing and destroying the air, and they collapse upon themselves. And then those little explosions create lift. And that's why you have carbon scoring. That's why you have carbon scoring on objects. It looks like a black suit. But it's the literal two forces they can't canonize, and so they create a whole bunch of micro explosions, and that's that friction, which is like billions and billions of bombs going off, and then that force of energy pushes away. So, for example, what makes ionic thrust so powerful is that you won't have that friction. Because you're shifting, we can shift. There's going to be like a huh? Or like a what? If you take, so ionic thrust is incredible. It's basically a plane with no moving parts. So you don't need fuel. You don't have this wasted space. You have bigger vessels, bigger objects. It's easier. So when you're in an aircraft, right, the main thing is actually the fuel bladder of the aircraft. And then in an aircraft, there's a massive fuel bladder. That's the fuel. They need to burn a ton of it to lift it up. And so private aircraft and aircraft in general are the main culprit of climate change. And the vast majority of the problem of climate change. Not everything else, not farting cows and not you eating a burger. So all Americans can just literally have a sigh of relief. Like 340 million Americans, they all just have a sigh of relief. It's nothing to do with the fucking burgers you eat. It has nothing to do with the fucking burgers you eat. The vast majority of all of our fucking climate change and CO2 problems come from aircraft. The vast majority of the percentage of the emissions comes from private aircraft flight, which makes up 40% of all greenhouse gas emissions and CO2 emissions in the United States. All the rich assholes in the United States, 40% of the CO2 problem comes from those rich assholes, or less than 1% of us. And then the rest of it also goes, that's just their chunk. Rich assholes flying planes, they're 40% of the problem of the CO2 emissions. They're fucking up climate change. That's the data, so fuck them and everybody else. Then the problem on top of that is fucking planes. So everyone flying fucking planes is the next block of massive amount of CO2 emissions, which then equates to the vast majority of the fucking CO2 problem in climate change is air travel. Like, fuck everything else. It's just those two things. Private fucking travel and public fucking travel. But it's aircraft travel specifically. There's the two fucking things. Like, that's it. But the whole world is just like gaslighting each other being stupid. Like, they're like, climate change. Like, we found the fucking problem. It's literally just private fucking jets and aircraft transportation. Just two of them. That's the fucking problem to climate change, to fuck up the climate. So, I don't know what people are doing the past few years. I'm just sitting here like, just chilling on the sideline, like, what the fuck is the world doing? And it goes back to just like humans are stupid. Statistically across the board, doesn't change. It's 33% of humanity is like, maybe it isn't destiny. Maybe it's just an apparatus of fucked up racist and implicit bias systems that are already in place around the world in terms of like anti-blackness, Islamophobia, and all the other kind of hate that's generated between all the other cultures between themselves. They've been doing constant revenge fighting, even though we all live under the same sky. So for humans, mankind, it's probably a circumstance of shitty fascist governments, shitty complicit moderates all around the world, fascist governments all around the world, hold back the vast majority of humanity and keep kind of like 33% of the population stupid. So at first I was like, oh, it's a destiny, it's inherent. It's almost like a percentage of like, hey, how many humans are going to have nutrition and their brains develop and they can actually utilize their body and their mind, versus how many humans grow up and they're malnutritioned and their body doesn't develop all the way, so by the time they're 25, it just kind of stops. And they're stuck, and it's actually not predisposition upon themselves, it's of their environment, which would then equate and allow every single American in the United States to sue the federal government for basically violating their own public health order. United States service codes that were built a long time ago essentially have already been adjudicated, basically stating like the United States government and the state and federal level cannot do harm upon their people, but it's only in the public health order section. Well, guess what? Because the state and federal governments all across the United States, which allows every single American that's been alive now, today, and has always lived in the United States, these problems have been going on for like hundreds of years, is that they're going to sign and lease and sell land to private companies that are already fucking up the atmosphere. The very fact that you have hydrocarbons and shit in the air and microplastics, they'll never go away. And we've created forever chemicals that are floating in the air not just in the fucking water, in the ground, in the fucking air. As you accumulate that over the rest of your body in your years, that's what's causing problems to you as a human and a person, and reduces the ability for your brain to even develop by the age of 25. Too many hydrocarbons and polycarbons that are in the air, because not at once, basically, it's a combination of, because the state and federal government allow these shit companies to destroy your environment, create sulfur mines, create copper mines, create coal mines, create natural gas mines, and they destroy and ravage the air as they release their chemicals. Like, people have been in the Midwest, up and down the Midwest, from Oklahoma to Kansas. There are power plants and factory plants and chemical plants, and even in New Mexico and Arizona and Louisiana, there's more chemical plants, hydrocarbon plants, massive refineries. Where do you think they're injecting all their stuff? And the sensible, logical American would think, shouldn't they be collecting all the containment units or any kind of containment unit and actually shipping it somewhere else safely? I'm like, no. They just shoot it into the air, or they pump it into the ground, or they use a river that they buy. And so, like what Louisiana does, the refineries are refining everything. It could be metals, could be salts, it could be whatever, sulfur. And then they're just dumping all the shit into the waterways, out into the Gulf, because they're just like, hey, the ocean's massive, and they just keep pumping all this stuff out there. And it's destroyed. I say the weakest group, not the weakest group, but the group that's been the weakened is any kind of fisheries in the Gulf. So you have everything from Texas to Florida, the whole region. Those environments are not going to last. So you're just going to destroy all the fisheries, because we have all of our chemical plants in the Midwest just dumping everything out into the Gulf. And we've had problems before too in the Gulf. It was like we've already destroyed, just even allowing those giant oil refineries were not necessary. You see what I'm saying? That's what makes it so funny. And so sad too. Because we've already shown that literally you can power whole cities off of green energy. But guess what was the biggest part of greed? Oil companies. So imagine through 200 years of generating tens and tens of billions, hundreds of billions in wealth, they could just shift that wealth and corrupt anybody. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, if you're in, like, D.C., and these assets come with you with so much wealth that it just changes how you write a policy, like, it's super easy for them to corrupt D.C. personnel with lobbyists. And so as green energy is propelling itself, literally, even before, like, 1910, you could have just went 100% green energy. But when you have massive coal barons and oil barons, that kind of wealth just corrupts the government. It's, like, super fucking easy. And this is how easy they do it. There's, like, we're going to sell oil to another country in South America. We're going to easily control 5 of their energy supplies. They're like, if we control your oil supply, like American oil companies, they're like, it's the lifeblood to your economy and your people. You have to do everything we say. But they're civilians, and so we don't have any say on them, even though they're in our country. So oil companies, even like Coca-Cola, what Coca-Cola does is so atrocious that the U.S. government should come in and take control of all Coca-Cola. What Coca-Cola is basically done to other countries. But because they're private, they're civilian, we can't touch them, even though they're doing a lot of harm. Isn't that weird, right? Oh, and all for the name of the dollar, or the corruption of the dollar. That's it. That's it. Ask any type of coal family in any of the coal factories, shouldn't they be pushing forward more with drones and robots? Like, think of it like this: you're still gonna need people that are like mine experts. They're like mine experts, pretty much natural resource experts or geologists, some biochemists and stuff like that because of what they deal with underground. But and physicists, because I would still want a mine expert to like control a robot to go underground and do the heavy stuff, because maybe they just love the earth, they love natural resources, whatever the case that may be that they're in. Maybe it pays well, but I still think you still need a mine expert. But instead of them putting on a hard hat and a mask and going underground and trying to get resources, it should be more robots, but make them where they're piloted, like RPA, like remotely piloted robots, RPBs, I guess. RPBs, remotely piloted battle droids, droids, whatever, RTDs, whatever you want to call them. Any kind of robot with the mind expert kind of controlling it. So those jobs shouldn't ever really go away. And that should be a priority towards safety. So we stop allowing humans to suffer. And what I immediately think of is think about Canada and Mexico and the United States, just the North American region right now. And we still allow so many young men, teenagers in their 20s, just to die for us to get more hydrocarbon chemicals. Like, can we stop throwing away the lives of like 19-year-olds and people in their 20s dying because they're a coal family out in a coal farm and y'all ladies, I'll try to explain to you, men and women, imagine you're in a region where like you're just kind of stuck, but the only job is this major coal company because they're going to pay the most, and your region around you, like I'll take West Virginia for example. West Virginia's not doing so hot. West Virginia's like, how can the United States be the number one country in the world, but West Virginia's like suffering? Like the state of West Virginia is literally suffering. Like too many suicides, too people dying from meth, old bridges, old roads. They need help. Like the state needs help. We're number one economy in the world, and West Virginia's like falling apart by the wayside. But it's like it's still Americans in America. Your next door neighbors, but West Virginia's like falling apart, and Mississippi too. Mississippi needs a lot of help. But then again, it also goes back to like GOP governors. So it's like their economies are suffering, the people are suffering, but like the people are still not wanting. You know, maybe get some better Democratic candidates into West Virginia. If we found a way to incentivize, good Democratic leaders to move to West Virginia, then you kind of shift whole economies. So I'll tell you like this: if you bring in a few multimillionaire Democrats, they can easily form their own cities. Like people don't understand. There's so many Democratic young money with tens of millions of dollars that they could literally move in like 100. All you need is like 50 to 100 multimillionaires, and as you go into West Virginia, they literally all of a sudden can create their own like town. People don't understand. There's enough people, and then when they bring in all their family members too. So people understand it's not just 100 persons, 50 to 100 people that now bring in their families, and all of a sudden now you have 500 to 1,000 people, and you can literally form their own small town. That's how much new money there is. And so really with West Virginia, it's a combination of not only bringing together Democratic leaders, but realize, hey, you know what, y'all could like literally be a mayor of your own town, bring 100 people, 500 people. They bring their family members. So if it's 1,000 Democrats all forming a new city, that's like 5,000 people like that. And so all of a sudden West Virginia has a new city. Oh, it's Democratically led. Oh, it's doing better. Oh, the farms look better. Hey, our school systems look better. Our police force looks better. Our schools look better. Our roads look better. Everything's just kind of operating better because we're a democracy and we love everybody. We're more liberal. And then that kind of helps West Virginia, but then at the same time allows you to have a really nice home too. And people will be surprised. West Virginia's like all green forest, and the way they demolish and destroy the California forest as they develop new towns and cities, I think they could be doing it in a much more, hopefully like Japanese way instead, more kind of like matching the environment so we keep shaping the environment. Like literally I can see it on the mountain right now. I'm driving on Stevens Creek here through Santa Clara, and when I look at Stevens Creek, what did Natsumiii just say? Did Natsumiii just say F you? I think it's something else. But I'm driving through Santa Clara and Stevens Creek. I'm looking west, and the mountains are already being destroyed. It wasn't a forest fire. It's literally you could see. I'm driving Stevens Creek going west, and I'm driving Santa Clara, and I could see the mountains, and they're just destroyed. But they're destroying them on purpose, and you could tell they're carving into the mountain to make everything a little more flat. But like that, like wasn't needed. And the only reason you would do that is if you're gonna start building like bigger schools, compounds, or facilities or shopping centers or something like that, like into the mountain. Like they're so abrasive with their destruction. It's like, hey, we're going to shave off parts of the mountain and flatten it out to like build shopping centers. I'm just like, dude, that's like the ugliest thing ever you could do. Keep the shopping centers at like ground level, right? And like don't carve and destroy the mountain. Just you can flatten stuff out to build like a shopping center up there. Like it's just so, I don't know. It just to me it's ridiculous. Like for homes in the mountain, build the roads and be more like the Japanese and form your roads and your landscape with the mountain that's already there in place, right? Because I feel like once you shave into the mountain and you start flattening tops, you know what that's doing? Whenever seismic forces are kind of moving around, there's gaps in where seismic energy used to dissipate. So when landslides and shit happens, it's right there. It's not that complex. I'll try to Bill Nye democratize science for y'all. As best I can. You'll see a prime example of like, you see a mudslide in Palo Alto and then make the news. But when you look at how it occurred, you're like, it's because there's nowhere for the force or energy to go, so it accumulated and then toppled over. So it'd be a home, right? And they just cut into the mountain like a square. But when you cut into the mountain like a square, and you're like, oh, and I can put a basketball court in my backyard. Because there's a flat wall, when the seismic force travels, it doesn't dissipate evenly. It hits a wall and accumulates and then bounces back, ricochet, and then it pops back out. So a wall, technically force should generate, theoretically, right? Force should generate and then dissipate out. It can't. The force generates, wobbles, open air, it bounces back upon itself, and as force travels to the wall and bounces back, they resonate, and then that second wave of force collapses the wall. That's why everything kind of always buckles before it falls. The buckles, you're seeing the shock wave of the first seismic force as it bounces. So, bada boom. Hopefully. Oh, but now I'm not talking to Natsumiii, just out into the void for posterity and for people to see the thought in the future. But try and democratize physics. That's what people don't understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, speaking to the void, to posterity, and not to Natsumiii. Oh, my bad. This might be there. It's because this is like not my first video. So to people that started watching me, I get like a few, like last week, I think I had like 30 people watch my stream. That kind of surprised me a little bit. That was really funny. I only had like 7 people on average would kind of like view the stream or whatever. So they're probably just, these 7 people are probably just using like VPNs or whatever to hide their signature. But the funny thing with League of Legends, funny thing with Twitch, the site is that you can see and track everyone that interacts with the site, but it won't show who they are, but it'll show the kind of a tick of like, hey, there is someone there. And so when you figure it out, when you deduce it, that's just the VPNs. So it's not tech people that are smart enough to where they use like 3 VPNs. So like VPN try to hard encode their routers, and the VPN try to hard encode their PCs, and the VPN try to hard encode almost like a fake signature. And so then use a fake signature to have your computer hop onto that signature, and that signature will then kind of ghost you to another country. And if you try to ghost another country, you then use a backdoor, and then you're in. Oh shit! What? Oh, that's real basic. Super fucking basic. It's not honeypot basic, but super pot basic. Super pot basic. But so with Twitch, the 7 people on average that are watching me, they're just doing VPN. They're not doing anything too fancy. There's only one person that's like from Germany. That's I think I know who it is. They're definitely probably a hater. One person from Germany. They're a MAGA supporter. I know who it is. I know who it is. They started like 5 years ago. A German dude, Trump supporter, whatever. He's the one dude. He's the one connection from Germany because it's that one dude. I know who it is. I know. I was bound to always have like one hater. Bound to, destined. Because I'm anti-fascist, so it's gonna be some hardcore fascist cuck that's fucking always a hater. So I'm anti-fascist. Like FDR, baby. But, Trundle. Oh, Trundle, man. Just hit him with the beat stick. Damn, what happened to Senna? Oh, man. Go, Trundle, go. Trundle, take him out. Did she? Oh, Trundle got it. Wait for it. No, he got it. You can't run from Trundle. You can't. Oh, he got it. Oh, you flashed off. No, I still don't think you can get away from Trundle. If Trundle keeps pursuing him, I think you can chase him down. Because the movement speed, but is she going? I'm not sure. I'm 20 minutes too late tuning into the match. Midlaner has a name that has 3 letters? Kasante. If the Kasante doesn't understand that at 21 minutes, if they can lead the fights in a team fight, so if his team is pinging him, I can only hypothetically, I'm late to this match because we're 20 minutes in, but if Kasante's getting pinged, it's probably because, hey, he's 12-4-4. Oh, I guess they're doing their thing-ish. Damn, the hard carry? Hey, Kasante, fighter tank. Oh, also one of the highest skill champions in the game too, in terms of skill expression. So Riot Games did this on purpose too. They create a series of champions that'll always be at the top. They'll always be at the top because they're designed that way. Uh, it's like Azir, Victor, Corki, Twisted Fate. Damn, you know what Riot Games could do so that they don't show that they're as fucking sexist? You need to nerf all the male characters in the game. That's the only way for Riot Games to show they're not sexist, because already off the top, Riot Games didn't design any female characters to be like in the number one category in the mid lane. So Riot Games are already still showing you their sexism. When Riot Games got fined like a lot of money, like I had to double check actually how much Riot Games got fined for the sexism and the misogyny that was at Riot Games was so bad. They got fined for how horrendous it was, for how horrible it was. Let me check real quick. How much did Riot Games get fined for it was the sexual harassment case. It was $100 million. It was $100 million settlement. So I think 50% of the workers, right? And actually, not even 50% of the workers were women. You know, there's like that was also part of it too in terms of equality and hiring practices. They had actively discriminated against hiring women, and then when women even got in because they liked League of Legends or whatever, or they liked League of Legends, they liked the company, they realized like they're in a horrible, sexist, misogynistic, sexual assault culture of Riot Games, like really fucking bad, like horrendous shit. Like if I repeat the shit that some of the Riot employees did, I probably should not or couldn't, or just like it's bad. You read up on what they did, and they got fined $100 million. And so from that point on, the point I'm getting at is like for Riot Games in the mid lane, there's a series of champions like Corki, TF, Azir, Victor, that are like the highest skill champions in the game, but they're designed to be like the best champions in the mid lane. But Riot Games is still showing their sex and misogyny because they haven't created any mid lane like high skilled female characters. See what I'm saying? Right? And it's like, okay, when they created Vex, they created an entry level mage. But then because of the entry level mage, the skill ceiling stops. So Riot Games is still showing their sexism and their misogyny by not having powerful female characters in the game. And that's pervasive from their toxic and horrendous Riot Games culture that they had in place. And like I said, it all started in protest. The red flags were going off once you saw it was a woman that was hired for like diversity and inclusion, and she like quit. She was just like, she had to get out, and then she had to then report what she saw to like the state and federal authorities. That's how bad it was. That kind of puts it in people's perspective. See what I'm saying? But oh, hold up, I gotta take this call real quick.
crazy. Thank you. Okay, okay. Guess we give it to the. I should have given it to the Cassante.
To a GG to. Hey, congrats on number 4. Congrats on number 4.
Emerald 4? It's kind of whatever. Okay. Okay. I'm going to call it early today, sorry, but I'm gonna sleep early and wake up in the morning and stream so I can stream earlier and a little longer.
Oh, I should sleep now too. Yeah, she's
Tuesday.
right.
Definitely.
I should sleep now. Yeah.
Alright, guys. You just got here. I'm gonna come back in the morning in like a few hours or something and like for like at like 10 or 11 or something. So in like, yeah, I don't know. I'll wake up at 9. Wake up at 9. Shower and then be ready for like 10:30 or something.
Oh my god, I'm typing too fast.
Okay. See you guys tomorrow morning. Sorry for the short stream. Well, it was a decent length stream, almost 4 hours. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys in the morning in a few hours. Bye bye. Bye bye. Good night. Thanks for watching.
Oh. Peace. Oh, it's Tuesday.
This morning, California still dealing with damage from the powerful atmospheric river battering the state.
No, continent! Oh, Australia!
Oh shit. Europe.
Yay!
What is happening?
Alright, bye, Sila. Nice try.
What is happening right now?
Oh, just kidding. Eco is... Yeah, so since he didn't say specific until after I answer, that's not...
What is happening right now?
From the beginning. Yeah.
What is
he
happening?
said pens, that's his first answer. Oh yeah, other guys said pens. He didn't even say band t-shirt until after, so I would have got it regardless. Okay, so far, guys, I have not lost. I'm like on a roll, I think. So let's see who the first person can beat me. Everyone in subbies only besides David, I already dragged, so AJ's want to come back $10. Hello, David.
Hey.
Caitlin.
Hi.
Ain't no way.
7 p.m. Yes, David, please have the slides open. It's good.
Dude, she got jokes.
I'm ready.
Alright, first question. What
Kool-Aid.
is known for being
Oh, I fucked up.
served in a small pouch like
Oh, that's hilarious.
There you go.
What about high school?
Oh yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's Capri Sun.
I'm gonna tell. I'm fine. I'm laughing because what she said. Sorry.
Actually,
In a good way.
Kool-Aid also
She got jokes. She's savage.
I thought it came in a bottle.
Which is known for being served, because isn't it like known for being the powder?
Yeah,
It can
but
be, it
high
can
C
be.
is also whatever. I'll give you the point. But I just played there for multiple answers. Thank you, Malachi, for $10. You can come in next.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. All right, next question. How many points does a star David
12.
have?
What is that?
6. It's 6.
What is that?
Star is.
I'm Jewish, so I got the advantage.
Oh.
Nice. Jewish advantage. Let's go. All right. Is there a symbol? All right. Next question. What do you get when you multiply 7 by 0?
0.
Okay, I'm gonna come back, guys. I'm not.
What did he just say?
Multiple answers. Thank you, Malachi, for $10. You can come in next.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. All right, next question. How many points does a star David
12.
have?
What is that?
6. It's 6.
What is that?
2 up. Star is.
I'm Jewish, so I got the advantage.
Oh.
Nice. Jewish advantage. Let's go. All right. Is there a symbol?
kind of got Steven Spielberg because you said Steven first, so I do feel a little bad.
No, you deserved it. You won. Oh, you won $10. Discord DM to claim the prize.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Bye.
Dang.
Oh, I thought he was sim for me. I'm like, oh, it's okay. You can keep it. He did it.
Hey, let me go.
What happened to the sims? You guys always would be like, oh, it's okay. Oh, whatever. No, I will admit I lost if I know it's a real. If I know I didn't deserve to lose, I will say it.
It's okay. You gotta get one out of the way so you can win the rest of them. You know what I'm saying?
I jinxed myself. Okay, also, by the way, if you pay $10 and you win 20. So this person, Malachi, if you win this, you win $20, okay?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
did you hear what I said? $20?
$20.
Yeah, because you paid 10. Yeah. So this is for higher stakes. Uh-oh. Your slides are blurry.
Uh-oh. Let me, make that unhappen.
Okay, ready?
Yes, ready.
Alright, here we go. What is the capital of Mexico?
City.
Yep, you got it. Okay, take a deep breath. Next question. Multiply 2 by 7. Alright, 14. There we go. Alright, here we go. Next question. What is the largest moon of Saturn? Give me a little.
I can't even fake an answer. I don't know.
I don't know. Gadamine? No.
Alright. Next question. The answer is Titan. Okay. God. Who became the first African-American president?
Barack Obama. Oh my god.
Barack Obama.
Nice try, Malachi. Nice try.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Phew. Okay, at least I win the one that matters more. Also, if anyone wants to say high stakes trivia, I'd be down for that. Last time I won $500 from high stakes. Or was it 500? Something like that. 100? I don't know. But yeah, I'm down for that. I am sweating. Once again, subbies only have priority, but no one else new is in there, so I will bring in people not from there, from the free room. How do you answer so fast? I just think really fast, I read really fast. But just fuck me over occasionally. Who did high stakes with you? I did Fire. I did Eric. This game is rigged. If you watch this, there's a lot of questions I don't know. Also, it's $10. I have no reason to rig a $10 game. You ever done trivia at night at bars? No. Hi, Deadpool.
Hello?
Hello.
Alright, let me know when you're both ready.
I'm ready.
Alright, ready to roll.
Let's roll. What is the capital of South Korea?
Seoul.
Oh my god, how do I not know this?
Yeah, it is Seoul.
Okay.
Bro.
0-1.
You should know for all the K-dramas you watch. Alright, next question. How many feet are in 75 yards?
Wait, I can't. I need to use a calculator. Oh, I'm full of paint. I'm pulling up paint.
3.5.
No. Hold on, sorry guys. Wait. How many? So there's one? Oh my god. Look, you guys can see my paint? This is not right. Wait, let me take my time. Okay, so how many feet are in 7 yards?
Oh.
75 yards. 75.
Oh, 75
Oh, it's 75
yards.
times 3. It's 75 times 3, no?
Yeah.
225.
It is 225.
Oh my god, you want to see my work, chat? You guys know I didn't cheat? I didn't know how to equation. Okay, here, I'll take the point. 1-1.
Alright.
1-1?
Alright.
Yeah, 1-1.
Okay, 1-1. Here we go, next question. Who played the character Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy?
Stevie Wonder? I don't know.
I forget his name. I know the guy off the top of my head. Just can't. I forget his name.
No, he knows his name. he knows his name.
I'm moaning or just I'm thinking.
No, he knows his name.
I think you're moaning.
He knows his name.
I'm not.
Yeah, he does.
Why is he gaslighting? Alright, next question.
Alright, next question. Is David Prowse, by the way?
No, it's just that this dude's racist and doesn't want to say the famous black actor that they live up to. What was that? Yeah. Like, it's just another racist white dude. He didn't want to say the actor that plays Darth Vader because it's a black man. Because they're racist. So that dude who's on right now, I've seen that before. I'm not surprised. Shit. Think I was born yesterday? Caitlin started off by saying on her stream she's undefeated, and she said that on purpose because the only other time she's using her VPN to watch my stream is she heard me
show me you know the answers. Come join here. Okay, come join. Keep it to yourself. Oh, we have a new sub.
This is important. This is important because three. What is Dan doing? Dan TC240. You put 3 question mark ping. Someone said Shaman 11 said something. Wait, there's 3? Chat was being naughty. I wasn't. Caustic says I wasn't. Tech W. Lucky Charms laughing. Oh, they got mad because McDavid said the answer in the chat. That's what they were like. Gotcha. I had to backtrack. I found what started. I was like, oh, it's because David said the answer in the chat. That's why. And then they were like, what? And they're like, stop saying this.
There we go. Alright. This is a good song. Who's the Roman god of
Oh, but show us that same video. Hold up. Hey.
The storm flooding streets and causing devastating mudslides, threatening property and lives. From the Hollywood Hills,
this landslide went through the back of their house, through their garage, pushed all the way down to the street.
To Beverly Hills, where mud practically swallowed this entire SUV. Drone footage showing severe damage to homes in Encino, this one nearly falling off the cliff. First responders carrying out swiftwater rescues to save people and pets. Some families forced to evacuate on foot.
This has never happened. And you can see the power of this water here. It looks like the contents of someone's garage got swept away. We've seen electronics, a cooler, furniture, and then these massive boulders.
The storm impacting nearly the entire state. In Northern California, 3 people have now died from falling trees. As high winds in Santa Cruz whipped the sea into a froth, the storm setting records for rainfall, with 10 inches falling in 24 hours at UCLA. This family forced to climb into a tree after their vehicle was trapped. And here, firefighters in a chopper rescuing a man who jumped into these rushing waters to save his dog. Thankfully, both the dog and his owner survived.
Now, these homes behind us here have been red tagged. Everybody's been evacuated. Thankfully, we're told nobody was in that home that collapsed. Now, as the storm continues, the threat is not over yet. These soils here so saturated, there's still concern about mudslides, landslides, and falling trees in the coming days. Craig?
Thanks. All right, Liz Coyte's there for us near Beverly Hills. Liz, thank you.
All right, Al is tracking the storm and the National Weather Outlook. Good morning.
Hey, guys, good morning. 29 million people under flood alerts, a million under winter weather alerts, and 8 million for wind alerts. So here we go. We still are under a severe flood warning for Los Angeles as the mountains of rain just...
Did she change the guy to saying this?
I'm screwed.
Okay. All right. It is Hanamu or Hana Man. My bad. All right. Let me change and fix it real quick. All right. Let me know if that works.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. I don't know what it's up with Discord. All right. Here we go. Next question. What is the largest mammal on Earth?
Elephant.
Well.
Oh, fuck.
What'd you say, Kate?
Elephants.
It's blue whale.
Fuck.
Y'all ain't no way.
Alright.
Ain't no way y'all put
what is the result of 4 cubed?
16.
No, 16 times 4? I'm pulling out my paint. I cannot do mental math. Sorry, guys. I'm really dumb. I can only do single digits. 64. Right?
3.
Yeah. It is 64.
Damn.
Okay. I don't know why I can't visualize that. Okay, 1-1. Phew.
Phew. Okay.
Extremely fast.
All right. Okay, next question. Subtract 4 from 10.
Yeah.
2, 1. All right, Caroline. Still got a chance. All right, here we go. Who won the Academy Award for Best Actor?
Heath Ledger.
She got it, Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, it's not Heath Ledger?
Ooh, no.
He did not win an award for... I don't think he won an award for that one.
Alright, it's 2-2.
Wait, didn't he?
I'm scared.
2-2. All right.
Wait, what? Isn't his Joker the best? Like, what? Hold up. He won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Like, he was the dude. It's actually extremely sad that he passed away, because his trajectory as a star actor would have been incredible. He won an Oscar, like, super young, and he was, like, brilliant. If you go back and watch any of his movies, he was really good. That's what people don't understand. I know women, like, love the, like, Heath Ledger when he was, like, a knight in a movie or something like that. They, like, gush over that guy like he's a god or something, like Hercules. And then after he did the Joker, they still loved him portraying the Joker. And then he died, like, super young. It was super sad. But his trajectory was, like, rising as a star. But yes.
Sometimes, for sure. I can agree. You'd think faster than me, for sure.
Yeah, men are just slow for some reason. Okay, thank you, David, for $10.
Holy, shots fired. Shots fired. Nothing slow. Nothing slow. When I said I'm undefeated, 140K, immediately Caitlin wants to flirt by. The second she sees the stream pop open saying that she's undefeated in her game show. It's very on the nose. She's always usually on the nose. But yeah. Oh, but did she just... What's going on?
Is it Amazon?
It is
Interesting.
Amazon.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
It's blurry
okay.
again. It's blurry.
Okay, yeah. I'll give her a second to breathe. All right, Kira, you got this. Okay? All right, here we go. Next question. What is the term for a score 40-40 in tennis?
Ace?
The term?
The term. It's a tennis term.
They say, like, 40 love. Is it love?
It's not love. All right, it's deuce. It's called a deuce. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Next question. What studies the inheritance of traits?
Genealogy?
I don't know. You got an answer, Kiri?
The study of the inheritance. Oh, I feel like it is genealogy. Wait, hold on.
Isn't too much time passing?
I don't know. Genetics.
Oh, check this out. The only way to make the show...
Genealogy is genetics! Oh, Google this shit. Chat, what's a genealogy?
There's no way. I feel like it's genealogy.
The inheritance. I mean, what is genealogy?
It's not the same thing.
Wait, is it not?
No, genealogy is like looking at your ancestor, your family origin.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I took genetics so I have to say.
No one asked.
I knew.
Next.
Okay, dude. All right, next question. Who composed the famous piece? Per Elise. Oh yeah, it's Beethoven. Okay. Well. Anyways.
Yeah, but it should. But it shouldn't be speed that wins. It should be the person that gets it wrong. So like if you're gonna do the game show, you should have a camera that shows all three. That shows the host as they're hosting. You should have a camera that shows Caitlin doing her thing, and then you should have the other camera showing the third person. So if there's three people talking, all three faces should be present. Caitlin probably would want Dilly to like dress up and like look nice for the show as a host. So you put suit and tie and all that, and then the other guests just kind of tell them, hey, if you're going to be on the show, dress to impress. And guess what? Like a disqualifying thing should be like if someone's not dressed to impress, they can't be on the show. You know, and make it a game show and kind of like increase the production and let's increase the graphics for these like JPEG looking flip cards and actually use some vector art. And you can just ask AI to generate the rest of the questions to make it much more fair. Because a lot of biased questions kind of popping up in here, or a lot of controlled questions that are popping up in here. Because if you have a lot of controlled questions, there's probably a lot of controlled answers. And so it would be really cool to see it kind of auto-generate off a site or game site. So there's plenty of game sites that have kind of like a game mode, and you'd basically invite people on to do their thing. Actually, I think there is a thing that already does a thing like that. So, like Jackbox TV or whatever. So she's doing her solo kind of show, which is okay. If you're smarter than me, win big money. It could be a show, but I would increase it instead of like JPEG quality. Sanrio's like a little too fuzzy looking, and like everyone loves Sanrio, but I bet they probably want to see Sanrio as being a little higher quality image. And dude, as someone who loves tech, we're in the internet, we're in a game site, we're with IRL sites, a lot of nerds and geeks and gamers. If we see like JPEG quality anything is like I don't understand. I think that's a Discord problem. Discord doesn't upscale or downscale. They cut their data, and so it's actually much better to use any kind of like Google or some other using Zoom, anything else. I literally use Zoom because Zoom's free. You can display your slides at a much higher quality, and then you just screen capture, window capture as a source your friends sharing Zoom or whatever. Discord does not allow upscaling or downscaling. That's why Discord is really hard to like share movies and usually stuck at 720p unless you pay more money to get like the 1080p to like upscale all your data. And so they did that to downscale the data. So what they're doing is by artificially lowering everyone's data down, they can control how much energy that they use for the company, which saves them money. But at the same time, Discord is, oh dang, the quality just increased. Oh, nice.
Yeah, talk. Can you just like speak?
I have AirPods.
AirPods. Okay, that's fine.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. What? Why did she just say? Why did you just speak? What? It's because the mic's right here, and if I talk to the mic, then it is a completely different type of like sound. If I increase the phone, increase the volume, and then like that. But then if I'm speaking like this, then it's just a little different. But yeah, it's too much. It's too much. So it stays in the green right here. We're never hitting the yellow. We're not losing any kind of data or packet loss. And then of course, if I'm talking right at the voice, is right at the edge of 100%, right about. But then it's too much. See, then that's way too high. And the part that's too high is probably triggering for other people's mics. So give me a second. So if I go here, go. 50%. Oh, they can hear that. Yeah, they can hear that. So yeah. So yeah, if I'm talking right at the mic, it's just a completely different. It's just sound because it's 100% my voice. But what I do is I hide my voice, and I said this a few months ago. So, that's pretty funny. Alright. That's hilarious. I think that's Who? What? People in chat? What? W Carrie. What did Carrie do? Oh, she in the chat. She in the call.
Is it blurry stuff? Okay. Dang it, Discord. All right. Next question.
Someone said dang Discord. Is that Dylan?
Which streaming service released?
Netflix?
Yeah. Very, oh my gosh. Yeah, it is Netflix. All right.
She reads so fast. Sorry.
She reads so fast. But you can't. You cannot. It's not that it's uncanny. It's that because there's slides, then there's already a set of answers. So, yeah. That's why when anyone else is chilling, it's not her reading faster, she just reads the answer immediately, and it looks uncanny. At first I was like, there's, so yeah. But it'd be much better if you just showed the host and the two people, and if the other person wants to come on, they could even have just like a card slide or whatever. So you can have Caitlin right here, or how do you do it? Caitlin, I think, wants to be on top. So you have Caitlin right here, and then the other host right here, or the other person right here. The slide's in the middle, and then you have like Dilly right here. You know, everybody, the host right here, Caitlin right here is a contestant, the other contestant, and then the main. But I see what Caitlin's doing, because she's just like, she wants to be the center of her channel. You know, so.
Okay. Hi, Rush.
Yo. Alright, Rush.
Wait, now I'm scared for the next question.
You shouldn't be scared.
Okay.
Rush should be scared. But here we go.
I'm fucking scared.
Yeah, get ready. Here we go. When is
it's Rush.
Wait, I'm not gonna take the points for this. This is not fair.
Yeah.
That seems a little easy.
Could have been a good example question. Yeah. All right, next question. All right, you warmed up, Rush? You got it? There you go. Okay, next question. Who wrote the science fiction novel Dune?
Oh, I have no fucking idea.
I don't know what Dune even is. Steven Spielberg.
Timothy Chalamet.
Ooh. It is Frank Hubert.
Who the fuck is
All
that?
right.
No fucking idea.
The author of...
Next question scenario. You have 2
Dune.
quarters, a nickel, 3 dimes, and 4 pennies.
99.
You said 99?
Cents.
99 cents. Rush, you have a
I
rebuttal?
can't
She
count
does
you
have
talking.
90. Wait, hold on. 50, 55, 85, 89.
Yeah, it's 89.
Oh.
89? I can't count with you talking.
Yeah, I could not process shit.
Yeah. I
trying to
read
read
faster than you're talking. 0-1.
Alright, here we go. How many feet are in a mile?
Oh. 326.
5,000.
Oh, God.
Yeah, fuck no.
And then it's 1763 yards.
Let her do her thing. You know? Yeah. So my idea to have, I said this in the last stream I think last week, was that you essentially just need people like, what? Okay, so when Cloud9 travels, their fan base travels, but then you realize the fans are all over the United States, and they have a pretty big group. And so they're going to go to all of the Cloud9 games. And Cloud9 fans, all they want is a place to travel to. So like Cloud9, League of Legends, I think, is there Twitter? People realize, like, you already see the base of the income for your revenue. And so you have, why do they only have 32,000? Oh, is it because Cloud9 has 1.2 million? Oh, okay. And then who has the most fans? It's Revenge Arc is going crazy. Is this Blabberfish? No, I was trying to explain to him, like, I'm not surprised that they posted 9 hours ago, because I'm like, the dude who's going to win MVP is our American jungler, Cloud9 Blabber. Because he's the man. Like, this is Blabber on playing solo queue, right? But these are players that are all like team centric. You know, your 7-0-6, good teamwork. 4-3-8, good teamwork. 10-2-13, good teamwork. 11-7-16, good teamwork. Give me a jungler that is like getting double-digit kills and double-digit assists. You can build the team around him. You can win games around him. But in the pro play, it's not any different than college sports. It's not any different than any pro sport. Any other pro sport is still pro sport. Any other sport is still sport. So the human element comes into play. So when you see a team messing up like Cloud9's like 3 and 4, the core of it, it's probably not even the coaches, it's the players. It's probably a lack of teamwork. And you'll see this from time to time. You see it in basketball, you see it in football, and you see it in League of Legends. Just humanistic. It's the whole, they start playing like solo. They start playing like they're going solo. Or they go lone wolf or whatever, you know, the players. But what Blabber makes him great is that he's a team fighting jungler. That's incredible what he does. And so when you have an incredible team fighting jungler, double-digit kills, double-digit assists, double-digit kills, double-digit assists, and perfect KDA, and his KDA not dropping below 4. Oh, except for this one. But this actually, I bet you he died because his teammates messed up, and he was just like, because you already know he's great. Double-digit kills, incredible. 9.5 CS as a jungler, incredible. 16 assists, incredible. And when he dies 7 times, I guarantee it's because his teammates are making bad mistakes that cost him, you know. And then he's paid the sacrifice. But when I see a player like 0, 1, 3, 2, like this right here, 3, 4, he's great. Not only is he great, his skill set is impeccable. 8.7 CS, 13.37 Kindred. Triple kill MVP. Actually, the 5 MVPs in second place should have been a 6 MVP in a row is light years ahead for the Warriors ownership, like Joe Lacob, like Joey Light Years. I can only hope that he's actually thinking 2 to 3 years ahead of everyone else. I'm hoping that Klay Thompson's knowledge, Draymond Green's knowledge, and Stephen Curry's knowledge is being imparted onto Kuminga. I hope the Warriors realize that you really just need 6 guys that are 6'6" to ball out. But I think Draymond Green's like 6'9" or something like that. So you're really looking for another player that would fit that mold or mesh. And I think it is Jonathan Kuminga. But what they're doing is they're making sure that they have this young guy, which is grinding away. He is 6'7", 225. So almost like the perfect mold. The Warriors really just want 5 guys that are 6'7" at 225. That's what they want. It's like, and so there's enough talent and recruiting that you should be able to. And still recruiting in a sense of, you should still be trying to recruit other pros to come to your organization. Your recruiting should never stop. Your recruiting should be sharp as hell, sharp as tack. You know, and so Jonathan Kuminga is turning into that player. Quite literally. 37 minutes, 29 points, 16 points, 28 points. So in just a 3-game stretch, the regular season is not 15 because they ramped him up, but just think of it as, you know, and the 10 rebounds. So this right here was an incredible stat line, 28 points. February 5th against the Nets, just a recent game last night. I can't watch the NBA stuff but excellent shooting, 9 of 18. People are like, what? This young dude who's only like 21 years old. This 21-year-old guy is 28 points now at 50% shooting, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Just yesterday. So Jonathan Kuminga will probably be the secret sauce for the Warriors as they finish the season. The vast majority of NBA fans, maybe like 80% of them, have no idea who Jonathan Kuminga is. Only like 20% of the league does because he came off the bench. He didn't start the year. So a lot of times NBA fans they'll see teams, they'll kind of see rosters, and they'll kind of already in their head make a determination of how well they're going to succeed based on the roster they saw day one and, you know, in the start of the season. But 3 months in, injuries occur. So already got the point where you're already past 40 games, right, for the NBA, and then a whole bunch of injuries occurred. So now all those rosters that you thought were going to win because you just looked at the starters, those projections don't exist anymore. All the projections change. Right now, Anthony Edwards is doing his thing and looking like a superstar as he's leading his squad. And you still see Denver where they're supposed to be at. Oh, my bad. We can go to the standings. But aside from that, it's the fact that when I think of Joe Lacob, Joey Light Years, the owner, he's always thinking 2 or 3 years ahead of everyone else. It's like 21-year-old kid, 28 points, 9 of 18 incredible shooting. Any other fan, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. This isn't one off. He's been doing pretty good. If we just look at Jonathan Kuminga. Let's look at the last 5 games. When people want to look at the last 5 games, they're the only games that matter. 3 wins, 2 losses. Okay, but still net positive. And they were really running the young guy. I mean, but he was still shooting 50%. He was like 8 of 16. Incredible. So actually, if Kuminga, let's see if he did anything wrong. He didn't. He's 9 of 18. 6 of 12. He's still 50%. He's still doing his thing. That's incredible. 11 of 15, shooting 73% from the field. Getting 29 points against Memphis. Going 100%. Oh, he only made 1 3-point shot, but what's it called? I need to see that. But this is good too. 80s, but just everything looks great. 22 points, 8 of 16, just 50% shooting was like incredible. 60%, 2 of 3. You want 2 of 3. If you can always get 2 and 3, you take it. If you can get 2 and 3 every single time, you take it. You get 1 of 3, fair. 26 points, 11 of 19 shooting, still shooting above 57%, incredible. Then he had 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Incredible. Like just even this right here is incredible. But they ran him a lot. They ran 39 minutes, which is a lot. 37, 29, 11, 15, incredible shooting. 1 3-point attempt. 85%. It's great. And then against Atlanta, kind of ran him a lot too, 34 minutes. They could have probably had him play 25 minutes instead. I'm just saying. And still got 16 points. Still shot 50%. Incredible. 1 of 3. You kind of live by it. I bet that's what they said. 75%. Okay. I still think Jonathan Kuminga is at the point where he should average like 6 free throw attempts a game. So now here, he's playing 33 minutes and getting points. The rest of the team is not incorporating him into the offense. So now we're actually devising plays from Draymond Green and from Klay Thompson, even from Steph Curry, to then divert some attention, because the play is kind of like a twofold. I bet the play is where if Curry has the opening, he takes it. If Klay has the opening, Curry has a second option to get to Klay. And but the third option is give it to Draymond. So there are times where Steph will have the ball, he gets double teams, he's realized, okay, 1, 2, 3, where's my brother Steph, where's my brother Dre? And he passes to Dre. Dre gets it, and Dre realizes like his prio is make a single play and then layup, which is incredible. I think I can kind of show this because it's like 2 different, maybe not. I don't know if I can. Let's go to Instagram. There's that's really bad. It's really bad. Israel's committing genocide. They're just wiping out whole cities and blocks. These are not military targets. Just Israel starving 2.2 million people. Israel's committing genocide. It's bad. Yeah, Palestine is the most well-documented genocide in history. Yeah, it's bad.
When we would usually use ketamine in a situation like that because it's safe, and in children it provides both pain relief and amnesia, so they're not re-traumatized from the procedure.
Oh yeah, I can't like this because ketamine can kill. So, trying to save children in the hospital.
As a pediatrician, I have some toys, and
I do worry about that because ketamine can kill humans. The drug itself can kill humans. It's an anti-nerve drug. So I don't know why you're giving ketamine. It's like an anti-nerve drug to children. Even though she just said she administered this to children. So I do fear people that don't understand, because it's not a young black man was murdered because the 2 officers and 2 medics injected ketamine into him. And I was like, ketamine, a dissociative drug used for both medical treatment and illegally for the high that it produces. So, it's a solid grainy white powder or brown powder. So it's like a white powder that looks similar to cocaine. Ketamine was primarily being used in veterinary clinics. So it was a drug designed for animals. And so sorry to kind of freaking explain to people. When this pediatrician said they're giving ketamine to the Gaza children, I was like, a bunch of red flags were going off in my mind. And it's called ketamine hydrochloride. I think hopefully this is something else. But ketamine hydrochloride is commonly known as ketamine, but isn't this not good? It's approved. It's a dissociative anesthesia. What? Ketamine is a dissociative anesthesia. Like what? So it affects the mind. But it's like an nerve drug. It's gained popularity as a drug of abuse, slang for related to ketamine and the effects of ketamine. Diversion, control, and division. Key fact, ketamine is used by doctors and vets as a painkiller, a sedative, and sometimes to treat depression. It's also used illegally as a hallucinogen. So this drug you're giving to Gaza children can create hallucinogens. This is from the Australian government. This is from healthdirect.gov.au. This is the Australian government. Ketamine was originally actually designed and used for animals, but it's an anti-nerve agent. And ketamine has already been shown to be used by white paramedics and white American cops to kill black people. And you want to tell me doctors went over to Palestine and were injecting babies with ketamine? Doctors were going over to Palestine and injecting children with ketamine? It's a drug that can cause hallucinogenic images. It's anti-nerve agent. So actually, check this out. It's most likely the scenario, in my opinion, is that the hallucinogens are actually the drug doing the damage to your brain and it causes you to hallucinate. It's originally designed, if this is the stat line is ketamine hydrochloride, hopefully that's something different than ketamine, unless ketamine hydrochloride is the full name for it. Screen patients thoroughly assessing their medical history and contradictions to determine suitability for ketamine administration. That's very ominous. It's the objective of the drug from the National Library of Medicine. This is the NIM, the NCBI, NLM, NIH.gov, the go-to place. Okay? So it is ketamine hydrochloric. Hydrochloric, if this is hydrochloric acid, but reduced down and collected into a white powdery form, do not tell me that the dry substance of hydrochloric acid is then given out of its powdery form into a liquid form, because that is a dangerous nerve agent. Commonly known as ketamine, is a medication approved by the United States FDA for general anesthesia, either on its own or in combination with other medication. This medication is highly effective for brief medical procedures that do not necessitate skeletal muscle relaxation. It can be utilized as a pre-anesthetic for the induction of general anesthesia when combined with other general anesthetic agents. Furthermore, ketamine is FDA approved for enhance the effects of low potency substances such as nitric oxide. But your body needs nitric oxide in order to operate. Why do we need nitric oxide in our bodies? Nitric oxide is a central component of the human body. It involves blood vessel dilation and stimulation of hormone release, signaling the regulation of neurotransmissions. So ketamine has already been shown to be used by medics, white medics and white cops in America to kill black people. We've already documented that. And you want to tell me doctors went over to Palestine in the middle of this 90-day genocide from Israel and they're injecting children, babies, with ketamine? It's a drug originally designed to sedate animals. It's an anti-nerve agent. The hallucinations are the brain damage. So when they talk about this drug, people abuse this drug for the hallucinogenic effect. No, you're literally damaging your brain. And the full name is ketamine hydrochloride. Ketamine hydrochloride. But this could just be the powdered form and not the liquid form that would make it hydrochloric acid. Ketamine is a highly effective brief medical procedure, relaxation, furthermore. But for enhancing the effects of low potency substances such as nitric oxide. So people are like, how is this doing damage? If the drug itself is artificially affecting the hormone release inside your body or the neurotransmission of your brain, your body's going to fight against it every single time. It affects blood vessel dilation. So you're artificially releasing and dumping the nutrients that the blood is flowing. People, I'll explain it as super simple as I can. Let me democratize science really quick. You get someone ketamine. It's really designed for animals. It fucks with the release of nutrients and nitrates from your blood vessels. It just dumps them. So then the extremities of your body do not get the nutrients that it needs. And the lack of nutrients creates that kickback to your synapse. That's the anesthetic effect. And then also by artificially dilating or inflating your blood cells, you're not going to get any kind of potassium or sodium. Ion gates aren't going to travel and stimulate and address any kind of inflammation. So that's what they call it, anesthetic. But you're just disabling your nerves and the nutrients that they would receive, the potassium, sodium, ion gates, and they activate to start as they're communicating the condition of each other's cells to each other. That is the inflammation. Because now they're damaged. They're not transporting or collecting because you've artificially inflated the blood cells, increase blood vessel dilation because of ketamine. So the extremities, and then your body kind of pulls back to try to protect itself. So the nerves shrink back to the synapse. That's why they say it's like, oh, you can't feel anything. The anesthesia part of it is actually your nerves being pulled back, trying to protect itself. And then there's a dumping of all your blood cells, or dumping on the nutrients that they were just carrying. But they're still going to keep circulating and moving. And the dumping of too much of those nutrients create kind of deposits or buildup. And now certain nutrients and pellets and nitrates are sitting in the wrong parts of your body. And your body has to go into overtime to try to clean it up or remove it. That is the inflammation. In my humble opinion. In my humble fucking opinion. Just giving ketamine, documented right here on freaking Instagram. They're giving children ketamine. Like, holy shit. Like I said, it's already been documented by white cops killing black people with ketamine. Already documented by white EMT medics killing black people with ketamine. People are like, Israel with their concentration camps and torturing people. There's an image that came out today that showed an Israeli military dude has a Palestinian man naked in a chair and like it's a complete, all the fatigues. Like, it's the Israeli military. It's a dude staring at and torturing a Palestinian guy. He's naked, tied up in this like chair. And the Israeli guy was so proud to say, I shot this dude in the leg, and he just stared at me the whole time. And we couldn't like break him or crack him. And I kept thinking, like, the fact that I'm glad that other news organizations are capturing all the evidence of Israel committing all these war crimes is like, at least with the 21st century, there's enough communication that we're documenting the war crimes, but we're documenting in real time a genocide. And so it's pretty bad. Like, that image itself already had 200,000 likes when I last saw it a few hours ago. The reason it has 200,000 likes is because everyone's trying to spread the word of like, hey, Israel's committing like real-time war crimes. Dude's naked in a chair, tied up, and there's just blood and fucking and bruises all around him. And this Israeli dude was so proud to say to journalists, like, hey, I shot this dude in the right leg, and he didn't flinch. He just stared at me the entire time. And then he was talking about, like, they couldn't crack him or break him or whatever. And I'm like, that soldier needs to understand, not only is he admitting himself to an admission of a grave international war crime, but also just shows the wide destruction and the continued genocide of the people. There's another really good journalist, I probably even shouldn't say her name to try to protect her. She's a really good journalist in Palestine, and she's documenting everything. She showed a video today of like, hey, look, this Palestinian dude who had food with him was going out to get more food, and he was on a bicycle, and then the Israeli military just shot and killed him. Like, dude wasn't doing anything wrong. Dude was just a Palestinian guy on a bicycle in civilian clothes. I think he had some food, was like going to go get some food to come back, and the Israeli soldiers just opened fire and just killed him. And you see his dead body and his bike and like the food or something that he had up against the wall. And it's horrible. And it's disgusting and it's evil what Israel just did and what they continue to do every single day. And then you see like two cats like walk up to the dead body of this man that was just murdered by Israeli military just for being Palestinian. And even then, that also has, a ton of likes and retweets, and we try to you like it to try to get attention to it, you retweet it, and then you need to comment on, hey, Israel's committing war crimes. NATO needs to basically stop Israel. The United Nations, and either NATO's not going to do it, then the United Nations has to do it. People need to understand, people are like, what? The UN has an army. So the United Nations, the UN, has a military made up of a whole bunch of officers and soldiers and doctors and medics from all over the world. So all the world commits resources to the United Nations. So that the UN has a military. And if NATO's not going to act, then the UN and the United Nations military, they have brilliant commanders and officers, like straight up. The United Nations, they have brilliant commanders and officers. They can literally, and they have a ton of resources, they could literally, basically, right now what the UN military does is usually they do peacekeeping or peace escort missions. Well, in this moment, in order for them to keep the peace, since the United Nations is made up of every other country, and the UN military has its own commanders, and it's made up of soldiers and officers of every other country, they could literally, the United Nations needs to move the UN military, their army, and surround and force Israel to stand down. Because if NATO's not going to act, because the U.S. keeps backing Israel, then it's really up to Biden. Would never, not in a million fucking years, Biden would ever take the U.S. military and turn on the United Nations. You see what I'm saying? But that would basically force Biden's hand, like a checkmate. The UN moves in, kicks everyone out, surrounds Israel, and tells them to stand down. That's probably your best shot. And we have brilliant generals and commanders from every other country that is in the UN. Brilliant officers, soldiers, volunteers, commanders, everything. So yeah. And majority of the time the UN military missions they're just escorting supplies, either through a dangerous area. And they're some of the strongest force. You know why they're some of the strongest force? Because basically they'll be like a film crew with Vice, and they'll be with the UN, and the UN will be traveling through a dangerous, I'm going to call it like it is, it's going to be a dangerous African country. They're in Africa, they're in a country, they're rolling through, but no one messes with that UN convoy because they're decked to the teeth with US-made weapons. So it's they're really decked to the teeth with US-made weapons. Armored cars, vehicles, light armor, heavy armor. And since they have American-made weapons and they're decked out and they bring a lot of troops when they're moving either medical supplies or food supplies, those UN convoys don't ever get attacked. And if they do get attacked, the other dudes are getting hit hard with helicopters are flying in, or their units are taken out. Other terrorists trying to attack UN convoys. They're always pretty strong. But the times that we've seen an American Special Forces unit get killed, it was probably more so that they realized that there was a small unit of Americans that were military traveling through a dangerous area. That's kind of what happened. It was a small Special Forces unit. And so if you're in a hostile country and there's already terrorist activity already happening, they were in Africa, they're in this smaller country, and the Special Forces unit that got killed was really small. It was only a 4-person unit. So if it's just 4 people in a car, of course, you're in a dangerous environment. You can only do so much. You're not superheroes. You know what I mean? They don't have air support. They didn't have any kind of convoy. It's just four special forces in a vehicle. And so when we lost those soldiers, it's just a combination of like, hey, look, you're going to get surrounded. That's not a big enough unit, you know, and they don't have any kind of air support. But at least with the UN, they're made up of officers and military members and volunteers all around the world, medics, personnel, women and men leading. That is a powerful, potent force. And some good-hearted people. It's really only like good-hearted people are like in the UN or in the UN military, because you're committing a ton. You're basically saying, hey, I'm going to fight for the world. I'm going to fight for the United Nations. I'm going to fight for liberty, for all these other cultures and races. You're someone that's so liberal and open. If you're in the UN military, you're like, hey, I'm so liberal, I will sacrifice, you know, my time frame to commit to fighting for the world and our beliefs in democracy. So that's a very powerful, potent anti-fascist force, is the UN military. Pretty much. And NATO was supposed to be a massive anti-fascist force, but NATO is standing by and allowing a fascist military like Israel to commit genocide. So, and the vast majority of all those populations inside Europe are also pro-democracy. It's just some shitty kind of fascist sympathizing governments that are just sitting around in Europe. But they're at least against Putin because, of course, it's just the white empire versus white empire, y'all. It's a white empire versus white empire. You have little nations, right? And then people talk about democracies like Hungary is not a democracy. Hungary has been on probation for 5 years because they haven't held up to any kind of ideals of being a democracy. Their government is a complete fascist military control. Hungary, even though Hungary is a part of our allies as NATO, they're not. they're the valve to which intel is leaking out into Putin. Hungary, their leader, has cozied up to Putin and to other dictators around the world. But Hungary gets to stay as an ally as we're trading intel and secrets. Like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in the world. So here's NATO. You already seen this country that's 5 years not acting within the European Union Accord, not acting within as a democracy in general. They've like controlled their books, controlled their police, controlled their schools, controlled the universities who they teach, controlled the media, and they have like a dictator in power. It's not a democracy. People in Hungary are protesting for democracy. They haven't revolted for democracy, but the people in Hungary have protested. But what you're seeing is just another white empire sitting there against the Russian white empire. That's all it is. And actually the Russian Z empire. And Putin makes sure that his Moscow folks are white and in positions of power. He doesn't want people of color in any kind of ranks. Oh, if you are a person of color inside of his ranks, you're going to be of light skin. You're not going to be of dark skin. And then on top of that, you're going to be in the military. Because he's okay with sacrificing people of color in Russia to die for other white Russians to stay in power. So the problem is if NATO is supposed to be anti-fascist, but they're sitting here allowing Israel to commit genocide, then it's really you're just seeing just white empires. And like the UK is like not a democracy. They still have a white empire that's in place. This white empire is the British Crown. The British Crown is still a white, evil, sick empire. They were the British Empire. Actually, hell, fucking shit. They still are the British Empire. Because they still wear the black, red, and white. Their officers of the UK were all black, like they look like Nazi fascists. And they wear all black, red, and white. They have red chevrons. They're all black uniforms with white and gold. At one point, the UK used to, I think, have like a mute fatigues. But even then, the mute fatigues weren't anything that fancy. They were just like for a way to you blend into like the mud in the background. Hey, what? So if your fatigues, it's super simple. If your whole fatigues are a mute color like brown, it actually blends in everywhere. Because the vast majority of the earth is brown. The vast majority of the dirt is brown. The vast majority of the earth is brown. So by having all muted fatigues are just brown, anywhere they go, they can blend into like an urban environment or a forest environment. That's why they took on those colors. And they put the green on top was symmetrical with camo. So that all their caps were green. All their officers had green caps. But their fatigues used to be just like a mute brown. Because it was an advantage in warfare. And they can have any kind of shrubbery up top, to look through like a kaleidoscope. So you survey a battlefield. But with the British, it's still a white empire. It's actually the British Empire. It's still the British Empire. Because you have a position of power where they've generated hundreds of billions of dollars. If they were a democracy, all of those artifacts would be back in those countries, but they're not. So that shows you the power and strength of the British Empire, that white power, that white empire. Just another white empire. They're going to speak a different language. Namely the Hungarians, still another white empire. Now with the UK, you see this British white empire being extremely racist. And we already know they're extremely racist. We already know the crown and the white people are extremely racist. So why are they even given still a position of power? Why weren't all of their... how can the UK sit there and be a democracy when you allow this racist white evil empire to sit there and dictate how your government's run? Because the UK never really... The UK, not one point, I explained to you, UK never at one point ever revolted for a democracy. They were just another white empire, and they sat there. And when the U.S. liberated Europe, the British white empire is going to sit there like, hey, can we still be friends, or are you going to invade us and liberate us and create a democracy here? And even America at one point for 400 years, or 380 years, depending on how you look at it, but it's basically 400 years. Actually, I can give you the exact number. Separate. We've only been democracy since 1968 in the United States. So everything before 1967 and the past is the white American Empire. And then you see the fall of the white American Empire in the summers and the decade of 1960 to 1970. And you could say it solidified our democracy 2 years later. So 1968 is the start of the American democracy. And then pretty much 1970 and forward of the past 54 years we had a U.S. democracy. That's why it feels so strong, because only the past 54 years have we had an American democracy. Everything prior to 1959 and everything prior to 1967, they're kind of two key dates. The turn of that decade and the changing of and the allowing of civil rights. So you really only had democracy after civil rights, allowing everyone of color to vote and allowing women to vote. So it's like 50% of the population was women. So boom, bringing them in to vote. Jewish people marched alongside black people. No, black people led it. So black people and our black civil rights leaders organized and led it. Black men, black women, black pastors that were women and men. That's made it so great, so homogenized. A lot of the European churches have like white men in positions of power, still holding on to those power structures. So women and men, if you continue to look at white European religious structures, are still inherently racist and misogynistic and sexist as shit, because you don't have women in leadership in those positions. They're all white male dominated. They all support those white European empires. But here in America, before the middle of the 20th century, then you have the organization in the 50s and 40s, after World War II and during World War II, the combination of black women that are pastors, black men that are pastors, gathering together, congregating, and it doesn't happen in 1 year, people. It's been a continual battle, upgrade, fighting for equality in America. Until you have the accumulation of black women and black men in America organizing and gathering and networking and building up momentum for the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement was supposed to be like 100 million plus people marching and protesting around the country at that time. And then some estimates say 80 million, but it's probably 80 million to 100 million. I'm going to go with 100 million. Because it was enough. Too many people of color dying. So now you have finally people of color can vote. You finally have a democracy. All right, so don't gaslight me on fucking America about anything during America before a black man could vote or a black woman could vote. You feel me? Like, it's not a fucking democracy. That's a white American empire. You can't gaslight me about fucking history. Anything prior to 1950, the black man could serve and die for his country, but he couldn't fucking vote. A black woman can serve in the army in 1950 and couldn't fucking vote. So don't fucking tell me that's a fucking democracy. Because there was no fucking democracy. There's just a white American empire that was racist as fuck. That segregated everybody. They forced Asian people to eat. They forced Asian people to eat at certain restaurants. They forced black people to drink water from certain fountains. So everything in 1950 was inherently fucking racist. The racism is so deep that literally every person of color deserves reparations. That's what people don't. That's what people are missing. It's literally it's the vast majority of the United States is basically, hey, you know what? The honeypot is the U.S. Federal Reserve. We need a chunk of that fucking money to pay out reparations for all the illegal shit the U.S. did by discriminating against every other person of color in the United States for hundreds of years. So super simple like this. It's even more fucked up. In California, they would force Chinese men to dig tunnels, and they would blow up the mountain and kill them in it. Those Chinese families deserve reparations. Y'all? Like, that's how evil fucking America is. And if that's shocking, it's the first time you've ever heard that, Google it. Literally, American state government, federal government would dig tunnels in the mountains, and they would blow them up, and they would kill Chinese miners in them. That's evil shit. All those Chinese families, all their descendants deserve reparations. And black Americans, because black Americans, as slaves producing cane sugar, that sugar was used for alcohol, and all those sugars were used for all those restaurants. So every single restaurant in America benefited from the sugar off of black slavery. The sugar that was then refined into alcohol, all those alcohol businesses that generated billions and hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars for restaurants, and the sugar they needed for your bakery in Chicago was off the back of African slaves. That money that you generated off of illegal gains. It's like forced labor, illegal. And then illegal money that's transferred is dirty money. That dirty money went to then that sugar, that's dirty sugar. That dirty sugar was used for your pastries in Chicago. You just ate some racist fucking pastries in Chicago in 1935. And where you protest is with your dollars, with your money. So literally every person of color deserves reparations in the United States because their very families were affected by the systemic racism from a white racist empire, everything before 1967. It's literally 54 years ago. So every single person of color can now file a lawsuit to the federal government and state government to pay them reparations. And you're not overwhelming the system. You're just saying, hey, look, you already have a series of laws in place. Here's our grievances. Here's your gross negligence. Here's your avenue instances of systemic racism that affected myself and my family over a 100-year period. Everything before 1967, I'll explain it, y'all. Everything before 1967, your ancestors, your grandparents and all that, dealt with the fact that they were already segregated. Boom, bingo, reparations. All right, give me money off that. You stole land from Chinese and Japanese Americans and Black Americans and Mexican Americans. Boom, reparations for my family. All right, give me my second check. Third, you discriminated and segregated my family members for decades based on their income and reduced their education and opportunity to gain wealth. Bing, give me my third check. Fourth, for every person of color, transportation and illegal use of organs in the United States of people of color that were harvested by prisons. Boom, give me my fourth check. For every person of color. There's already a course of grievance in the United States. Literally, you're not overwhelming the system. You're just basically explaining to the U.S. government and federal government, and you're forcing their hand on reparations. Every single American of color can file a suit, and on multiple accounts of instances, to each person to file like 5 or more instances of dealing with systemic racism for the federal government that's benefited off of the backs of that kind of racism and hate. And that forces the hand. If you then have 160 million Americans all file, well, my bad, not 168 million Americans. The 168 million Americans of color, that percentage, whatever it is, probably it's a good amount. You know what I mean? Not just one, it's like 5. They're all owed reparations. I think that's why people are getting confused, because I'm sorry, humans are stupid. I'm sorry, people are confused, because humans are stupid. I think the racism was like other people of color were like getting mad or jealous that like black people were leading. Like I need every other person of color to like take the stick up out of their ass, or like get off their fucking high horse and sit down for a second because black people have been doing this longer, fighting for equality, to shut the fuck up and listen to black leaders when we're talking. We have more racism resiliency. We have more racism equity. We have more racism knowledge. We have more anti-racism knowledge. We're more anti-racist as black American grandmothers and black American grandfathers are more anti-racist as they continue to fight selfishly for everyone else of color while taking on the blunt form of anti-blackness within the other cultures. Anti-blackness shouldn't even fucking exist. Every single fucking other person of color should have the greatest, utmost gratitude to black grandmas and black grandfathers because their struggle and their fight helped generate the space for them to even talk. And it's like the racism starts coming out from other people of color because they're fucking stupid. Because as black people for the past 2 years are pushing reparations, it's not just for black people. We're pushing it for everybody. But because black people are leading, the instant racism that pops out is the anti-blackness coming back at us as we're fucking leading, trying to build equality for everybody. So that comes in your own fucking communities. Every single community of fucking color, as your anti-blackness starts seeping out, your prejudice starts seeping out. Black Americans are pushing for reparations for everybody, which helps every fucking body. But the racism is the pushback from your own internal hate. You got to fix your own fucking communities. So when black elders and black leaders are talking, shut the fuck up and listen. Ketamine is a drug designed for fucking animals. And they're giving the fucking ketamine to children, to babies in Israel. That's some evil fucking shit. It causes hallucinogens. The ketamine has already been shown from white cops to kill black people. The ketamine has already been shown, documented, from white medics to kill black people. And now I just read today, just saw something that just grossed me the fuck out. Where basically doctors giving ketamine to children in Gaza. Disgusting. I want to vomit. It's a drug that's used for vets, for animals. It's an anti-nerve retardant agent. Literally the definition. It's an anti-nerve agent. It's an anti-nerve retardant agent. The retardation, the word itself, is not a slang. It is reserved for the reduction and clamping and compression of nerves. Who started designing nerve agents? It is technically a biological weapon, and that design itself came from Nazi Germany. People just fucking forgot. Quite fucking literally, because people don't know history, or they're stupid. The design of nerve agent chemical warfare came from Nazi Germany. And a lot of their fucking scientists came over to the United States. And they weren't sent to fucking prison to serve life sentences. We kept picking their brain and we designed more shit off of German engineering. And if you don't understand fucking history, you're doomed to, what is it? Fucking repeat it. So for the first time in human history, we have an anti-racist society. Because everything prior to 1950 is basically every fucking society is racist as fuck. Segregation everywhere, anti-blackness everywhere, anti-Slavophobia, all these prejudices everywhere. Everything before 1950, like the world, everywhere before 1950 is racist as fuck. Hate everywhere. Segregation, hate everywhere. Not talking doesn't improve anything. If you build your cliques and circles, nothing gets done. Same thing in gang activity. Humans are human. The same. You're overseas in the desert with a badge and a name. You're just a dude with a badge and a name in the desert. So we see our military, and yes, we're fighting democracy, but when you dumb everything down, like, if you go to another country, you have a gun and a uniform and a badge and a name. You're just a gun, a uniform, and a badge and a name. You're humans under the same sky. Okay? So it becomes humanistic. What are we doing? All humans are under the same sky. We all breathe the same fucking air. What are we doing? We're a hostile alien race that commits civil wars all over the place. I'll try to educate the world one video at a time. Try to say the world one video at a time. We are a hostile alien race that commits civil war. I'll stand the fuck up because I guess if I'm sitting the fuck down, no one's going to fucking listen. So, we are a baby alien fledgling race that's fucking stupid. Humans are fucking stupid. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Because at one point, humans used to average 40 years old in age. It was the stupidest shit in the world. Why that happened? Because we were killing ourselves and each other. So at one point in human history, men and women, the average age was like 44 or 47. And when I saw the number, I was like, what the fuck is that? It's because humans are so inherently stupid that They would just commit civil war and kill each other under the same sky and breathe the same air, looking at the same sun. And then eventually, once kind of factions formed and militaries grew, what did we do? We still kept killing humans. It's pretty fucking sad. Under the same sky, breathing the same air, seeing the same fucking sun. We are a violent, dumb, alien race. The gall and the fucking audacity, the sheer stupidity, to where humans, we don't even live the longest on the fucking planet. They're already like turtles, for example, could live for like 250 years. Turtles can live for 250 years. We should be studying what the fuck is that thing eating that allows it to live for 250 years. Oh, guess what? It's fucking vegetarian. God damn. Because we found out that eating meat is a carcinogenic. Shit face facts. Eat shit. The very consumption of consuming a meat is a carcinogenic. Face fucking facts. Science doesn't give a shit about how you feel. Let me try to save the world one video at a fucking time. Simple, well, everything you see in front of you is a fucking policy failure. Today is February 6, 2024. Quite fucking literally. A stroke of a pen, the writing of one policy or two policies, you can fix equality for 50% of the country. 2 sentences, 2 policies, that's it. And that one sentence will be 1 paragraph, and it'll be like 8 sentences. My bad. It'll be one sentence that's so long it's 1 paragraph, just to shit-face bricks, show you how to do it right. Literally, you know, I'll make it fucking easier for people to understand. The convolution and the conjugation of creating these larger policies is just sheer fucking stupidity. It's actually a garbage. Every fucking time. Every time you do a fucking policy, it can literally fucking be 1 sentence, not even 1 paragraph long, 1 fucking page. But it requires you to understand. Okay, how can I explain it? 51% of the United States is women. They're getting paid 70 cents to the dollar, the exact same job that a man would work. The blatant misogyny, blatant sexism is evidence. So in order to checkmate all these asshole men, because they're still propagating hate towards women in all 50 states, or to checkmate all those assholes, it's literally 1 page, 1 policy. Second policy would fix it too, but 1 page, 1 policy. All you do is you create a public register of every single company's finances. 1 page, 1 policy, super easy. State of California can enact that. They can write it, 1 page, enact it, boom, that's it. And people are like, why does that matter? Because what that does is we already have the mechanism in place for grievance and recourse. So when you do 1 page, 1 policy, that forces all companies in the United States to have a public register that shows their finances. You instantly, if there's any pay discrepancy, is the lawsuit for the individual to then bring up to that company. And that immediately, what does that do for California? It just, 1 page, 1 policy, just balances out every single fucking thing, everything. Women and men would then become equal in pay. 1 policy, 1 page. Every single fucking thing you see in front of you is policy failure. All the jargon and bullshit is just a waste of fucking time to make it harder and easier to hide shit. That's it. Now, one prime example of just super fucking easy. Check this out. We, like I said, have public health orders that already dictate and control how the state government and federal government should act. And in accordance, they cannot do harm upon its peoples. And so that's why I brought up earlier of hydrocarbons in the air. Or the air, I'll break it down much more easier for people to understand. The air quality is so shit because the U.S. state government are allowing federal land and public land to be used by shitty companies that destroy your air and destroy your water and your ground and your watershed. So these companies are dumping fucking chemicals into the ground. It destroys the watershed and the waterbed of wells and food and resources for animals and plants and your livelihood. And those trace chemicals, the parts per million, they get into the water, into the food, into the air, into the birds you shoot and hunt, into the food that you eat, and the water and the soil for those farms all across the Midwest and California and the West Coast, the East Coast. destroys the development of your child's brain and your brain as you grow up. And we've already have food deserts in America. So you're already lacking nutrition, reduces the lack of development of your brain or spine or homeostasis or skeletal system. So by the time you're 25 and your body sets, you might not have the best air. We already know, like with LA, the air quality is so bad. I still think it's like the worst in the United States. Like I can double check it again really quick. But it's like the LA air is so bad. It's like the worst in the whole United States. But it's because you don't have enough trees to filter and clean the air. Like quite fucking literally. There's too many cement jungles. I've already spent hours last year during the summer. I just looked at LA. You just see you see a cement jungle, the gray. And what that's doing is it increases the surface air temperature of the area because there's no greenery to reflect the sun rays or absorb the sun rays. You know what it's doing? It's actually refracting and then increasing the heat. People understand this. I'll make it easier for everyone to understand everyone's experience. Everyone's been to like a high school, some sort of school. There's always a large cement quad. Why does that large cement quad make physics easier, like a Bill Nye style? Why does that large quad cement heat up? People understand that. People are like, there's no way to block or stop the sun from heating up the stone or the rock. So it's more of like a thermal radiation. Okay, now is it clicking for y'all? It says it's not light, it's not photons, it's thermal. So a large cement quad area becomes like hot, right? People have all experienced this. If you understand, you're playing basketball growing up, and you're a teenager, and you're like, dude, the quad's just too hot, you know, right? And you're probably thinking, oh, I need sunshade. No, it's literally just the ground itself is heating up. Nothing to do with the light or the photon. Okay. So with LA, super easy. The policy would basically state, one page, every certain like square mile, you can even do it for every 1,000 meter by 1,000 meter, you have to incorporate 50% greenery. Like that. And check this out. You can add another policy separate from it that basically tack on, or you can make it all on one page. They tack on tax incentives to individuals and companies that prioritize by having 50% greenery. Give them tax breaks, y'all. Give people tax incentives so that their neighborhood will then push. They'll do it themselves. They'll push it forward themselves. The community and people will talk, and it will spread like wildfire. Well, my bad. It spread like a green wave. And so you literally, by having more greenery, you're actually absorbing the sun, and you're weaponizing the energy. Not weapon. You're absorbing the sun and efficiently using the sun's energy to then build vegetation, grow more fruits, have more greenery, reduce food deserts in big urban jungle atmospheres, reduce the temperature, decrease the smog. It's much more cool, vibrant, and it just feels better. You know, you ever driven through a cement jungle? It's very like decrepit, apocalyptic cement jungle. But the moment you have some greenery, something alive that's living, and more vegetation, trust me, you're going to see more birds and insects and bees and flowers, and just the air smells better because the flower and the pollen and the green from the trees are giving you good boosting your immune system. Just even breathing and being around trees give you these phytocides that help increase your TK cell count and your B cell count. And your whole immune system gets boosted up anytime you're near trees, because trees, naturally tree oils and tree pollen, it's just any kind of pine oils are incredible, but in small amounts or whatever. You don't need to always be gassing your body to like throttle your immune system up. They were like, what? If you walk around pine trees are always emitting pollen, but the phytocides that come from the pollen, the pinene itself, that type of oil, in a small amount, that's what I'm saying, you don't need oils. It's a very small trace amount that are floating through the air off of all pine trees. You know what I mean? Once you walk around a pine tree, right, and you smell pinene, like limonene from limes, you've already gotten enough. People don't understand. The literal flower, the essence, the very dash, sprinkle of the pollen, of the pinene, just a little bit, helps boost your immune system, tops it off. Your TK killer count goes up, which allows your body to combat kind of everything. Your B cell count increases, giving them the backbone and memory glands to combat new viruses and bacteria. So if you ever feel sick, in my humble opinion, the Japanese created a whole thing about walking under pine trees. Japanese terminology for walking in the woods. It's like, check it out, Shinrin-yoku. The term Shinrin-yoku was coined by the Japanese Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry and Fisheries in 1982. Can be defined as making contact with and taking in the atmosphere of the forest. The literal term means forest bathing. But what it's doing is, it's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, it's going to reduce the stress for your kids. It's going to boost your health and your well-being. The pinene that's in these trees from the saprophytic glands and the cruciferous plants are incredible. And so the makeup of their pollen matches with our bodies like a puzzle piece. And it boosts your immune system. If you ever feel sick, all you really have to do, in my humble opinion, just my opinion, is literally just take a drive out to like a tree, or if you already have a pine tree, literally just go hug a fucking tree. No shit. Sherlock. But especially like a pine tree. Or I guess you could use a pine oil instead of a diffuser, but I don't think it works the same way. Usually the pine oil that's in a diffuser is not as vibrant or potent. It's like the idea of if you had an apple that's genetically modified, it usually tastes like nothing. So I've bitten into an apple, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's genetically modified. It's all of its usually it's like picture perfect, and then it's very bland. Versus an actual organic apple, it's going to keep all its flavonoids with it instead of it kind of falling apart like a zombie food. And that was actually a coin term recently in the past 10 years. They call it zombie food, as Americans try to recreate food from an unconstituted state into a constable state, and then it's just like zombie food. And so then they try to inject it with sugars and fats, artificial sweeteners to make it taste right, like a Cheeto. If you looked at a Cheeto and you didn't inject it with like fake sugar and fake fat, like it's literally zombie food, like you're eating foam. Sorry, no disrespect to Cheeto, but doesn't taste right, artificial, shit food product, doesn't help your body at all. They do with cereals. The grains itself, the plant is already dead, and they're trying to re-emulsify like shitty grains, and then because it's so bad, they have to inject sugar and the nutrients into it, and then fake fats and sweeteners and preservatives into it to make it even last. So the shell itself is basically like foam. Because if you have all these cereal brands, right, and they're like they have to add additive sugar to it. They have to add all these nutrients like B6, B12, B10 into it, and then they have to add these preservatives to try to hold it all together. It's basically zombie food, and it tastes like shit. Might as well eat chalk. I want you to show me a cereal, you grind into a dust, and pour that in water and try to drink that. It's like, you're going to vomit, right? Okay. But imagine you take I cut up some limes and lemons and some basil and peppermint, and I slice that all up and I put that in the water. What happens? Oh, shit, it tastes like an infused water that's fucking incredible. Because it's not like zombie fucking food. What you should be doing, if you should be drinking that, you have your water, you slice your lemon, you slice like 5 slices of lemon, and put it into your water, add some ice, add a mint leaf or a basil leaf to it, or add a jasmine flower on top. Have your little jasmine pot plant in the kitchen, little jasmine plant with the flowers. You literally pluck like 3 jasmine flowers, put it into your water, slice a lemon, ice, add a peppermint leaf or bay leaf to it, and then drink that, and you should be happy. And if you already have your fruit lasts in different states. And I do recommend frozen fruit, but frozen fruit is also kind of its lower grade. So if you get your fruit fresh, all you're doing is you should be growing your own fruit anyways. And so now we have ways for people to like grow their own, mushrooms, grow their own fruit. So hopefully with one video at a time we can save the world. Because it goes back to science doesn't give a shit about how you feel. Welcome to facts. And so meat is a carcinogenic. It's actually slowly killing humans. So checkmate towards veganism or whatever you want to say. But it's mainly just saying veganism. It's basically just checkmate. Hey, stop eating shit that's killing you, like a carcinogenic, like meat. And then You don't need a lot of oils. A little bit of salt goes a long way. Oil viscosity is super low, which means it's going to spread. I'll explain it super simply. Like oil has a low viscosity, which means it doesn't stick. No friction. I try to Bill Nye explain it. Everyone understand one video at a time. Try to save the world. A little oil goes a long way. A little salt goes a long way. What's it called? Yeah. So with fruit, it's so funny. You know, it's just I don't know why these other companies kind of exist. It's really strange. It's like all these cereal brands. I'm sorry, but they are zombified food. Term that was coined in the past 10 years. You're trying to reconstitute food that, and we already found a whole bunch of problems. We found the cause of cancer, sugar. It's the overconsumption of sugar. Sugar itself accelerates and destroys your blood vessels. So sugar accelerates and destroys your blood vessels. Oh, my bad. In my humble fucking opinion, my apologies. My humble fucking opinion. What time is it? It's already the 7th the next day? Okay. Let's